Hi, my name is Chris Perry. I'm the owner and operator of Rafter P Ranch. This is Max. So what we do here is we make biochar from hemp products. And it's super easy. Hemp waste into barrels. Barrels get little teeny tiny holes in them so they can off gas. Then they go in the big machine here, 24 of them. Get stacked inside of this monster, burn for about 10 hours or so at about 850 degrees, and then we let it cool down, bring it all out, dump it into here, and that is what hemp-based biochar looks like. There, see, it's pretty simple. It's not like 15 minutes, it's not like 2 hours, it's like 30 seconds. Goes from there, into those, into that, comes out like that, goes into bags. Simple. Why complicate things? So, we got hemp in 3 different forms. It comes in really fine, separated herd, extra bales that are left over, and then left over from all of the processing. And we take all of this, send it through Max, and it comes out as biochar. There. Simple. Want to see weed? All from this guy. Biodiesel. Right there. See how easy it is? And that, to make biodiesel, is super easy too. You just crack it, take the esters out of it through a process called transesterification, and then you turn it into biodiesel. You get glycerin, waxes, and diesel. There. The other thing that we want to do is collect the syngas that comes off of this during the process. We can take hydrogen out of it. We can send it to a biodiesel machine so that we can then extract tars out of it, and then we can burn it in a syngas biogenerator to make about almost a megawatt is what I want in the end. There. Ta-da! Mad Max.
So what are you doing with the biochar that you're making now?
So we process it for a company called Hemp Alta. This is all of their waste product. So this is a small test facility so that we can get it going right away. We're going to be getting new machinery soon that is more efficient, looks cooler, but isn't nearly as cool as Max. And then it goes into things like agriculture, so we can put it into soil for carbon sequestering. We can put it into concrete and asphalts to reduce the amount of other ashes that we currently put in it. We can reduce the heat that we cook it at and create another process called biocoal. So then we can make biocoal and not shut down all of our coal generating units. And then there's about 300 and some odd different products that it can eventually go into. Pens, plastics, oh man, too many. Eventually, I'm going to space. Yep, we're going to take this, we're going to turn it into hemp-based graphene. We're going to make batteries out of that. That's going to help us go to space. We're going to make hemp-based graphene armor, I think, for the androids that are going to pre-build everything in Mars. That's the future. Future's hemp. Looks like this. I ain't lying to you. There. How's that?
I want more content. I didn't drive all this way for 4 minutes of content.
I know, but there's not much to it, right?
But I feel like you have so much more to say.
Oh, but that's the thing. There isn't much. Here, you can get lots of pictures of this stuff. So, in the long run, if you grow hemp, you can get carbon credits for growing hemp because of the process of growing hemp deposits carbon directly into the soil. So there's a new system for that. So you grow hemp, you can get paid for it. You can get paid for it growing hemp for the hemp itself. Then you can process it into finer parts, sweaters, t-shirts, textiles, papers, plastics, various other things. Then when you're all done making all of that stuff, You can send me all of your garbage and I will reprocess it back into biochar that can be used in like another 50 different pieces of projects.
So are you connected to farmers in the area that are using this?
Not yet. I have 2 test plots that I've run over a few years. The field that's going to be like, that used to be my hemp field. I had to plant because of drought this year for my animals. That will be 10 different test plots that is going to run in there, and each test plot is going to be split 3 ways for a control, a biochar, and an advanced inoculated type of charged biochar.
So will you be using the amendment in standardized machines that farmers already use?
Yep. They could probably just go straight on. Eventually what I want to be able to do is nano emulsify it so that we can just send them a powder. Then they can just put it in an aqueous solution like water, blend it up, and put it directly on their fields. Plus, the smaller it is, the better it gets into the ground. And now, what is biochar? Does anybody know what this crap is? I think it is a community for all different microbiologies. So it's basically a structure itself. It holds moisture right directly on the inside of it, and then bacteria can grow on it, and so can fungi, and both of these will then self-promote the biome in the soil, which is actually missing. There, that's neat, eh?
Have you experimented with any slow release technology?
No, not yet. I just basically have been crushing it up and then putting it directly on my fields as tests. You could easily see side by sides the difference in them just from where I put it in my garden and where it's not. It's like twice as tall. But there's everywhere in the world now starting to pop up with some sort of biochar. And another company that works with Hemp Alta, it sounds like they're going to be making some deals over in Africa to start growing hemp so that they can reboost the soil so that they can grow fruits and vegetables in the soil and eventually use biochar in this process.
Yeah, and you mentioned the policy stuff about, getting paid to plant the hemp. Is that in place?
Yes.
And where do people find out about
You can go to a company that's called Hemp Carbon, can't remember exactly what it's called. Hemp Carbon Standard. Hemp Carbon Standard, that's what it's called. So the Hemp Carbon Standard is how they use it all to do everything with hemp these days now, so that we hopefully will be able to get a lot more farmers. In the last 5 years or so, we've had a real decline in hemp farmers because the market is marketed. So it's hard to get good hemp here when we can import it really easily and quickly from China right now because they're way ahead of us in the hemp world and we're brand new. We could learn a lot, honestly.
Yeah, from what I've learned, the hemp producers are mostly, there's a lot of farmers that are wanting to get into it, but the equipment,
Yeah.
it's hard on equipment, so they're needing special equipment or whatnot. So there's companies doing set it and forget it models.
Yeah, and I'm not a big fan of that. So we use really old equipment from the 60s and the 70s so that they're just mean, honestly. The combines nowadays, I don't think that they're high speed enough. And if any of the twines get put on the inside while they're ripping stuff apart, it binds up, and that's how you cause fires. The machines just aren't really designed quite yet for hemp. The closest is now the dual head hemp by John Deere. So there's 2 heads that go like this. This one cuts off all the tops and this one cuts off near the bottom. So you get 2 different stacks that come out and they get fed into 2 different pieces on the inside of the machine as well, which is, one's just cutting it off and dropping it, basically bunching it up and dropping it. And the other one's de-seeding the top and then spitting out all the garbage and dumping it. So getting there. We should go back to 1951 when everybody ran hemp and horses and it was all pull wagons and super simple stuff because that's farming. Now we have to have these giant land masses so that we can basically make $1 along the way. But now that fuel costs are so much, fertilizer costs are so much, we get nitrogen reduction policies that are coming into place. All of these are going to affect our farmers so bad that if we don't create a new way to get the ground to grow for us, we're in a lot of trouble.
Yeah, so what got you interested in doing this?
Really? I quit my job at the University of Calgary, and then I came out here to see what we could do on the farm. And I'm like, well, I'm going to see what the best thing that I can grow on 10 acres of land. And so it's an eclectic strawberry is like the #1 thing, and then these raspberries, and then some sort of cherry tomatoes, but they require so much stuff, and then corn and a bunch of other things. And I'm all like, 20 years ago I was pretty interested in hemp. Let's go back to hemp. And I went back to hemp. So I grew hemp here for like 7 years. Market is the market. Like, I can't really explain how it is other than other people in the market being like, yep, it's the market. There wasn't anything for me to do with all of my hemp. I sat on tons of it, actually, and I'm like, all right, what are we going to do with it? So let's burn it. Like, let's get it off the ground. Let's burn it. And so I'm like, well, let's Toy Story this. Let's burn it with style. And this is burning with style. This is pretty much what Mr. Computer tells me is the best thing that we can do with hemp waste. And I have now, after 6 years of doing quite a bit of research on it, really think that this is the future of more than just like hemp. This, you can do so many. You get one of these machines, something similar to this in your house, and you'll be able to just jam bales in it and heat your whole entire shop, heat your home with it, anything like that. It's just waste product, but instead of it going somewhere useless and just doing nothing, do something with it. So, super something. So we do a batch system here, so it's not running 24/7. So right now it's on a cooling cycle, so it ran last night. And so sometime when Mr. Sun doesn't make it so warm here, we'll unpack all of this. The better systems they're continuous, so they always are burning. So they have like constant flow kilns that are turning. You dump your product in one end and biochar comes out the other end. This one is load barrels, put in, make fire, walk away. Make sure house doesn't burn down.
And how long does it burn for?
10 hours, 10 to 12 hours. And it gets very hot, about 1,000 degrees, 800 to 1,000 degrees.
Are flames shooting out around the door? I know.
Nope.
Nope.
This is smoke, is what this is from. And then what eventually will happen is the flame will go in far enough and it'll just start drawing air and then go out the chimney. And when it's really burning, there's almost no smoke that comes out of the top because it's so hot.
And how are you starting your fire?
I have a torch. So we burn a combination of old hemp bales, old wood, garbage basically is what it runs on right now. We get all the deadfall from the road, from the county, and stack it up and then cut it and throw it in. Like basically anything that burns is what we're using as fuel right now. The better system is a continuous flow, and then it burns off of its own syngas. So it makes its own energy. It takes about 30 minutes to fire up to get to a particular heat point, and then the off gas becomes flammable, and then it burns on itself. That is a way better design than Monster.
Mm-hmm. Have you tried the pit fire method?
Kentucky pits? Yes. I like this design better because I got a barrel for super cheap as opposed to making a Kentucky design. Like that would be the next thing, is I'd have to go get all the metal and build one. The only difference that I can really see is they have the same issue that I have, is that it has oxygen flow control problems. You're going to have flame control problems because once everything is classified as open, all of your controls just kind of go away during the process. So if it like rains halfway through, it actually cools the unit down. It only cools it down like 25 or 30 degrees, but it cools it down, little things like that. So
you're running this all winter long?
Yep.
-30.
Yeah.
Nice warm spot to hang out?
No. No, because it's got a really weird trick to it. Once it starts running, it's too hot to stand by. So you actually have to stand like 5 feet away from it, kind of thing, because it's really, really, really hot. We're no burnables in the zone for like 8 feet or something like that, because it'll just be too hot. You can't touch any of the tools or anything along here if it's running. Actually, you can't even really walk down the side. Last year when we were burning, there was a perfect circle about 6 feet out, like right here. And this was all clear. And the snowdrift was like 6 feet tall, like right like this.
Is that thing just glowing red?
Yep. In the middle of the night, this thing is like red, like a deep red from about halfway up, stack included. Like it gets really, really hot. And we lucked out on this tank because it's not a regular tank. We think it's a bimetal tank. So we went through a whole tank of oxygen to cut the outside hole, which is not normal, to say the least. But yeah, and then I just keep collecting stuff to burn in it as fuel and keep burning along. That's it. There's nothing else. Also, the next thing that I wouldn't mind doing is trying cannabis waste, because that's going to become a new problem soon with all of the cannabis facilities. They're not allowed to take bio-waste soon to landfills, so they're going to have to find a new way to dispose of all of their trim and everything else after it's gone through their processes.
This is because of some new legislation that's coming?
It's just the garbage policies. I believe that they were told this in the beginning, that you guys have a 5-year kind of window or so to deal with the garbage, and it used to be like, oh, we'll put it in piles and cover it in kitty litter was one of the solutions that they came up with. I don't believe that landfills can actually accept biology anymore. Like you can't take grass clippings to it, you have to take it to a different center, because they're starting to segregate and separate out the garbage because there's so much garbage. There's an immense amount of garbage. And like, you just think, you look down here and just see all the waste along the way, because that's what all of this is. It's over orders, various other issues along the way, things that aren't picked up. And then, yeah, what are people going to do with all of their oops? Really? What do you do with it? What do you do with your garbage? Everybody just throws it in the trash. And then Mr. Trashman comes by and then it disappears. And then, 9 years later, all of a sudden you're like, why does it cost $400 to take my trash out this year?
Yeah, some places they're paying to dispose of it, and then the people are paying for it, it's being separated, and then it's being created into biofuels, and then the people are paying for that too.
Yeah, like I've even heard of places that want to separate out the garbage that comes in. So say your grandma needs to be moved, downsized into a smaller zone, and she has all of this old wooden armoires and all the wooden stuff and everything from classics, and you don't have space for it, you don't know what to do with it, and you can't sell it. So you're like, oh, well, we'll just throw it away. So there's a fee for wood coming, like if you want to throw away an armoire, it's going to cost you $40 or something, because it doesn't go in the garbage fill anymore. They have to put it over to special disposal. We don't know what special disposal quite means yet, actually. There.
So what about things like Hempcrrete? Do you know people that are
I do.
doing that?
Yep.
And this seems like a
So
lot of stock that you have here that could be put towards creating some affordable housing.
Hempcrete is one of the things that's coming out. That'll be actually probably quite a big thing. I know that in the US, there's a new thing that's coming out in the First Nations. They're going to get a bunch of hempcrete houses. I believe in BC, there's going to be another thing where they're going to receive hempcrete houses. And I also believe in the US that they've received all of their signatures to get it as a full-on building product and not like a side building product. So then we can then bring it in a lot better for like insulation. So somebody needs to re-insulate their house and they're all like, I don't want to use pink glass stuff or rock wall. We're going to use hempcrete. You can build bricks now that just fit right in them. It's the future. I'm going to put hempcrete in my roof in like 2 weeks.
Yeah, because I feel like this is a lot of material. Like you could build quite a lot of houses. When I was talking to my pedigree seed supplier, he says, well, isn't there better things you can do with the hemp waste besides burn it?
Mm-hmm.
So
Of course there is.
What are those other options?
But where do you start? So we'll even say, yeah, we're doing Hempcrrete now. Cool, let's get herd going. All right, how much herd do you need? Well, I need 30,000. Okay, so we process 50. Now we have 20,000 of them kicking around not knowing what to do with because the orders are whatever. Doesn't matter, in any portion of the businesses, there's going to be a waste product. So even if they make them, they cut them, all of that cut stuff could be potentially even reprocessed one more time. Like, I don't believe in absolute waste really, because everything is circular. You throw something on the ground, microbes will eat it eventually. Hard to believe that microbes live inside gasoline. That's gross.